Greetings everyone, Trash Master Monk here, and today I'm going to be going over how I made this. Now I had made another video of me making this one, and I'll kind of explain the similarities and the differences between them, but unfortunately the video ended up getting corrupted on my file system, so I'm going to have to remake this video and just sort of explain how I went about making it. So until I can get the other video up online with the actual tutorial, this sort of rough overview should help you out. Now the main difference between these two, at least the main difference is that for one, this one has an actual bottom that you can put your Zippo fluid into that little hole and put that on, and your Zippo fluid won't leak out. Whereas this one was made with a 5 milliliter perfume bottle. See, it's just one sort of glass enclosure. And this became very, very difficult to fuel up because you got to put the fuel right down in here through the top very, very slowly, and it just sort of gradually fills up over time. So that's the main difference. Now the second difference is going to be the striker. Whereas on this one, the striker is from a Bic lighter. Now I took the electrical tape off so that I could show you. Now how I got this out is basically, fortunately I don't have one quite on hand, but you want to go to the bottom of the Bic lighter. There's going to be a little itty bitty hole. Take a needle or something, poke it in there, drain out all the fuel. Do it with a dead lighter. Don't just waste lighters. Now another thing is that if you look at this, you can see this little extra bit of plastic, and it kind of stops right there. Now I have another dead lighter I can actually show you. Now in this dead lighter, you'll notice the hole that I was talking about. This light's kind of bright, but the hole that I was talking about, and compared to the rest of the lighter, that's about, you're going to be wanting to about cut it in half. Now on this one, my intention is actually to cut the rest of this end off and put a screw in there so that you can, so that you don't have to constantly take this piece out to put new flint in. How I did the wick in this, you're gonna need yourself a piece of toilet paper. I have the other half of that one right here. Tear it in half, get yourself some of the very, very extremely thin copper wiring. Here we go, sort of like this. A very, very thin strand of copper wire. You're gonna fold it in half. After you roll this up, you're gonna sort of put it on either side, twist it up from the bottom. And that's what's gonna make your wick. And that'll help the fluid run up the wick into the top burner part. Now, the inside of the head is actually a nut similar to this one, where it's got the edge so that it fit and it didn't leak anything. There's probably 1,000 better ways to secure it in place, but I just went ahead and used super glue for the simplicity of the video. Mainly because I really don't know how to solder plumbing. I could not for the life of me get solder to stick to either metal other than my soldering iron still has some solder there on the end, and it's cool to the touch. It's been a minute. So that's generally how it was made. This is a 1/2 inch copper pipe. You're going to want to stuff it with cotton. You're going to want to do that because if you don't, there's a very high possibility that the lighter gets too hot, that the fuel's coming out of it, because it will start sort of boiling on the inside. It'll get hot, create pressure, and it very well could explode. So you're definitely going to want to do this. Now this was actually the top to a plastic vodka bottle, and I just mainly used it because it was red. and that fits nice and snugly in place. Now to keep it from knocking this out of the way, we went through and cut part of the tab off so that when you put it on, you keep the chain off to the front, snap it down in place, and it doesn't interfere with the striker in any way, but it stops the sparks from getting to the wick. All I did was take a screw, put it down through the top, and sort of made it like a figure 8 with this washer. And like I said, once you filled it up with fluid, you put that on the bottom. Got this electrical tape. You just take the electrical tape, make sure it's kind of lined up, and you're going to want to stretch that. This piece was actually the bottom to a half-inch curtain rod that it just sort of fits snugly on there and makes the bottom airtight. And that is your do-it-yourself trench lighter. Now again, some of the differences is that this was taken from a clipper lighter, and if you look down in here, there's actually a piece of metal that sort of bends around that and then bends back out around the glass enclosure. Both of them are super glued in place. And on this one, the wick is held in place by that spring, whereas on this one, there's a piece of metal that comes up out of it. Now, unfortunately, I do not have the Zippo fluid because it was left somewhere, and so I can't necessarily prove that it works, but if you look where the sparks are going, it'll light. It will. It'll definitely light. Okay? Same thing with that one. And here's the proof of concept because it's actually got fluid in it. Now this one, luckily, because it was made with the clipper and I did it in the special way that I did it, it's got that little guy that comes off so that the cap doesn't pop out so easily, but this one had to be sort of held in place by mostly friction. It had to be held in place by friction, so it's not just going to drop out of there, but it doesn't take a whole lot to pull it out. And that's pretty much it. This is how you make a simplistic trench lighter. Remember that if you do not have this special piece from a clipper, you can take a Bic lighter, clear out the bottom. You're going to want to take all this stuff out to get this piece, put it all back in, and then cut that inner piece out. And you don't have to do it exactly like I did this red one, where you go through all that trouble to make it look really, 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 really good. But there you go, your do-it-yourself trench lighter. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, then please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time with a new, fun, and exciting way to make something crazy.